Father, I just thank you for this wonderful brother. Lord, I just so proud for him being willing and anxious and volunteering to do this. Lord, I heard this message Wednesday night from him. I just pray, Lord, that he'll release that heart, that just let his heart shine through. Thank you, Lord, for this boldness, the Christ in him, and the mighty power that he's going to bring to the kingdom, Lord. I just thank you for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, all righty. Well, if you haven't noticed yet, I've never done this before, and this might be like a one thing or it might be a regular thing. So we're about to find out. But for whoever doesn't know me, it's a little loud. My name is Brooks, the one and only. And if you wonder what happened to my arm, Mom and Dad didn't push me down the stairs. I had surgery on it Friday. And no, I'm not on doped up on medication, though I may be a little nicer on doped up medication. But I believe the Lord told me today to come tell you something. And I don't know if you're going to think I'm too nice after today, but that's not me talking now, is it? But enough of all that. The Lord laid on my heart to talk to you about a great man of God named Joshua. And for you don't know who Joshua is, Joshua was the son of Nun. And if you don't know who Nun is, Nun was one of the main guys that was with Aaron with the golden calf. And so Joshua was born in the wilderness, so that means the Israelites were there in the wilderness for 40 years. So he was born in the wilderness, so he was no older than 40 years old when God called on Joshua to do something that was very, very crazy of one man could actually do, being so young. But God came to Joshua right after Moses died. If you want to follow along, I'm in Joshua 1. It says, after the death of Moses, the Lord's servant, the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, who had served Moses. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now you and all the people are prepared to cross over the Jordan to the land I am giving the Israelites. Now I want you to realize that he just went right from Moses straight to Joshua. Now you also have to realize that Moses is the same man that got the Israelites out of Egypt. And he could cross the Red Sea. Now, I should say through the Red Sea. He didn't just cross. He went straight through the Red Sea. And now he's laying on this man's heart saying, hey, now it's your turn. Now you got to pick it up. Now you got to go. Now being the man that Joshua was, he listened to everything that God had to say. And he went on to say to Joshua, in Joshua 1:5, he says, no one will be able to stand against you as long as you live. I will be with you just as I was with Moses, and I will not leave you nor forsake you. Now, that's kind of for Joshua. He never got to really see the miracles that God portrayed on Moses, so he's going in this thing kind of blind, you know. But God's saying, I'm going to be with you just like I was with Moses. I'm going to be with you just like I was with him. I'm going to be there step for step, and you're going to lead all this whole country of people, and you're going to cross the Jordan River, and I'm going to lead you into this promised land that I promised you. And, I mean, I don't know if that's about you, but that sounds like a big deal to put on one man. Just, hey, guess what? You're going to lead all these people over to this land where everybody is going to try to get you. They're always going to get at you in every way possible, in every way form. They're going to try to get you. Now, Joshua went on, and he crossed the Jordan River just like God told him to. And I'm going to go and skip ahead. They already conquered, to tell you everything. They already went to Jericho, just like he told God to. They already crossed the Jordan River like God told them to, and they already made the ark and everything. And now they come up to a city called Ai. And now they did spies. They sent spies to Ai, Joshua did, and the spies came back and said, it's a small city, small army. We don't need that many that many soldiers go take such a small city. Anyhow, they sent a very small portion of the army to Ai. And just to come back, and the soldiers came back in complete defeat. The Israelites has been defeated for the very first time since they crossed the Jordan River. They've already conquered 5 other kingdoms, including Jericho. They're top dogs. Everybody's scared of them. They're just trembled of them because they know God's with them. But they come back in defeat of this little, tiny kingdom of Ai. Little kingdom. And immediately Joshua falls on his face before the Ark of Covenant. And because he knows that the Lord is angry with him, because why would he lead him to defeat? And he says, Lord, why have you made me lead all these people just to be defeated? And then in Joshua 7 and 16, this is after the Lord has came to him saying that one of you have sinned against me. He says in Joshua 7:20, let me skip that part. It says, this man named, I guess that's how you say it, was Achan, replied to Joshua, "It is true, I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I did. When I saw among the spoils of a beautiful cloak in Babylon 200 silver shekels and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them and took them. You can see for yourself, they are concealed in the ground in my tent, with the money under the cloak." So Joshua sent messengers who ran to the tent, and there was the cloak concealed in the tent, and the money underneath. They took the things from inside the tent and brought them to Joshua and all Israel and spread them out in the Lord's presence. Then Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, son of Zerah, I guess that's how you say that name, the silver cloak and the bar of gold and his sons and daughters and his ox and his donkey and sheep and his tent and all that he had and brought them to the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, "Why have you troubled us? Today the Lord will trouble you." So all Israel stoned them to death and burned their bodies and threw stones on them, and raised over him a large pile of rocks that remains to this day. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but there's this one man that did that one thing, and all of Israel suffered from it. Now, it also goes to say that not only did Joshua rid of this man, he rid of this man for everything that represented him. His whole family, all of his belongings, they were all destroyed. You think, maybe he's a little overkill, don't you think? But God wanted him to do this because I believe God, even in our daily lives, we have little things that we think, it's just something little. It's just something little. But God wants us to destroy anything that comes into our lives that might be able to come into something else. He wants us to squash it like the bug. Like he wants to get rid of it right then and there because he knows you don't have the willpower to let that thing go away. It's going to build up on you. If you like me, you let something, I'm like, it's just one time. Another time, the next thing you know, it's in your daily life and it destroys everything you are as a person. And God doesn't want that. He wants to get rid of that thing then and now. And that's what God was doing with Joshua. And Joshua went on to conquer 31 kingdoms, including that kingdom of Ai. He completely destroyed it and plundered it after he did what God told him to do. Now, I tell you that today because Joshua was a man he was a very selfless man. I say that because everything that Joshua did was for God. He always put God before everything he did. That's why God knew that Joshua was the man for the job. Now, in our lives today as Americans, I believe why the world is the way it is because us as Christians fail to put God before our own self. We stand here and we judge all these other people and say, they shouldn't do that, they shouldn't do this, but guess what? What have you done in your life to make God resemble you? You haven't. Because I know I haven't. I'll tell you what, I live in sin probably about every day because I know I do. And that's why I'm up here and I'm trying to tell you, we got to change people. We got to. And too many of us today are more like Jonah instead of like Joshua. Jonah tried to run from God and everything that God wanted him to do. He ran, and God finally got him back. But guess what? Now, God's not always going to get you back. He's not always going to bring you back to where you need to be. Sometimes we got to do it ourselves. And even after Jonah went and saved all these people from Nineveh, after even all of that, he went to the desert and he pouted about it. He sat in that desert and he pouted. And he's like, he pouted because those people were getting the same treatment as he was. And God sent him a vine because it was hot. He sent him a vine. The vine gave him great shade. It was nice shade, and Jonah loved it. God also sent a worm, a cut worm, that cut the vine from the very bottom. Now, and after overnight, the vine was dead. And he said, Lord, just take me now. He said, take me now. It's so hot. And this vine, he was so mad because the vine died. But Lord said, what gives you the right to be mad about something you didn't labor for? It gives you the right to be mad about something you never even lifted a hand for. So it gives you a right to be selfish with something that's not even yours. Because God, this world is too worried about ourselves. We take things and we believe we have something that's really not ours. Because this salvation that we have it's never been ours from the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? It's a gift. Even you might work to the day you die, but guess what? You never earned anything in this life. I mean, you never will, because everything you have is always going to be a gift to you. But yet we put a blind eye to everything around this world. I mean, just think about it. I tell you, if you don't believe you're selfish, if you don't believe, you believe you put others before yourself, just think about when you finally got upset about the way the world was. Just think about it. Just think about it right now. Think about when you finally got upset, when you was finally actually aware of everything that was around you. You know when that was? When it came to your doorstep and it affected you. No, don't say you, I knew about it all the time. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. God, I can tell you that. Because guess what? Because I know, because if you like me, you didn't care about anything until it affected our daily lives, until it came to the state of South Carolina. And they said that you had to do this, and you had to take down that flag, and you had to do all them other things. Guess what? That's when it affected you. Because we're selfish people. Because we put other things before ourselves and before God because it benefits us. I say that because we vote leaders that go against everything we live for. You can't tell me that has no effect on how you believe. I mean, if you really thought about God, not yourself, you would have stood up against, stood and said something about it. You would have said something about it until now it came into more than just a bug. It's came into a big heaping pile of trash that we all have to take out now. Everybody has to take a scoop of it now because instead of taking care of it when it was, now it's here. But yet, we didn't care because it didn't affect us. We never cared. Never did we care, people. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you another thing how I can tell. We've been killing babies around in the United States, aborting babies, since 1973. That means 42 years. 42 years people have been killing babies. Over that time, if my math's correct, well, I looked it up. Anyways, 55 million babies have been killed in those 42 years. 55 million. And going into the year of 2015, there was 32,320 million U.S. civilians. Now, I did the math, and if that's correct, probably not, one from Batesburg. But that means for every 5 U.S. citizens, means those 5 people right here, there's one dead baby. Now, you do the math now. That adds up after a while. But yet you sit here and you say, I care about the Lord all my life. I put him before all things. No, you didn't. Think about what you did this week. Just, if you can name 1 or 2 things that you did for the Lord this week, you're doing pretty good. But guess what? We're supposed to do that every day. Every day, people. Every day. Because guess what? I don't want to be up here right now. This is the Lord. I don't want to be up here. I'd rather Pastor Justin come up here and talk to y'all about this today. But guess what? Lord said, no, you got to do this today. I was like, I don't know. Even my mom didn't know about all this pain medication, but hey, I'm up here today, and I might fall down a couple times, but hey, I'm going to talk to y'all. Another thing I want to talk to y'all is that we stopped coming to church for the Lord, too. Y'all really did. We really have stopped coming to church for the Lord, because I know that for sure, because I've came to the same church my whole life. Sat in the same pew. I never heard a word anybody up here ever had to say to me. Because I always came for the wrong reasons. I always came for someone else because someone made me come. That's not why you come to church, people. That's not why you come. We got to come for the Lord. And the only way we can change the world is if we put the Lord before ourselves now. Just like Joshua did. You think Joshua wanted to lead all these people across the Jordan River and to where everybody was going to get at them? Do you? I mean, it's a simple question. Yes or no? It's a no. I'll let you know. But it's a no. I don't think I would want to either. I mean, not even Moses didn't even want to do it. He said, Lord, why have you put this curse upon me for all these people? Complaining and bellyaching about getting on his bread. And he said, why? He said, just take me now, Lord. Just take me. He didn't want that burden on him. But he put the Lord before him, and he was able to do these things because the Lord wanted him to, and he was a godly man, and he lived and he served the Lord, just like Joshua. Now, Another thing is that us as Christians, I can tell, it's just, if you put the Lord before all things, you will know the truth from a lie. Now I say that because if we were truly Christians, all the people that said it was Christians, you would know what leader to vote for. You would know who to listen to. You would know if I was up here telling you the truth or not. Because the Lord says, I am the truth. And for who are with me is the truth. Now, if you live by the Lord, you'll know the truth. But yet we go up here and we live by things that are just lies. And we let these lies dwell in our lives to the point that we can't see no more. We put a blind eye to the world. We put a deaf ear. We just don't see things because we're all about us. What I'm trying to tell you, get to you now. I don't know if you're getting it or not. But people, now Joshua was a man, a very selfless man, yes. And he lived by the Lord, and he served the Lord each and every day. And I'm not sitting here telling you that if you live by the Lord and serve the Lord each and every day that you're going to conquer 31 kingdoms as Joshua did. I'm not going to say you're going to go build a church or, lead thousands across the river. We got boats for that now. But I'm telling you is if you just make a change in one person's life, it makes a world of a difference. You just go, you don't even have to be like Jonah. You don't even got to get swallowed by a whale. You don't have to do that. You can just go talk to one person. And you can change that person's life. And guess what? That's all the Lord wants you to do. That's all he wants you to do. But guess what? You're too selfish to look at someone else. Because you know what? What does that do for me, Lord? What does that for me? That's not what he gave you the salvation for. It's not yours to keep, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not yours to have. He can take it away from you just as good as he can give it to you. Now, who are you to say that you can't spread it? Who are you to say you can't talk about it? We try to take God out of everything. Everything, because it gets in the way. We don't have time for it. How we come to a world that we don't have time for the one man that gives us this life that we have? It just don't make no sense to me. I'm a very young man. Yes, I am, but I can see that the world is not going where it needs to be. And people can blame all they want, but it's just as much as your fault as it is anyone else's. And by the time you can stand up and actually do something about it, that's when you can talk about it. Now before then, look at yourself before you go talk about others. Look at yourself. Are you really putting God before all things? Now y'all go be like, well, Joshua, he crossed the Jordan River. Of course he knew he had God with him. But before Joshua even got to Jericho, he met a man on the road there. And this is in Joshua 5:13. It says, when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua approached him and asked, are you for us or for our enemies? Neither, he replied. I have now come as the commander of the Lord's army. And then Joshua bowed with his face to the ground and worshipped and asked him, what does the Lord want to say to his servant? The commander of the Lord's army said to Joshua, remove the sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy. Now, I believe God sent that angel to Joshua not for him to get information, but to remind him that, hey, I'm here. I'm right here. Now, a lot of us, God sends you reminders daily that he's here with you, but you ignore it. You really do. Because I tell you what, I know I sure do need that reminder sometimes, don't y'all? I mean, it would be nice, but guess what? He's there. He's there each and every step because he said he'll be. And guess what? We're going on the same blind faith as Joshua was. You got to think, Joshua didn't see the miracles that God bestowed with Moses. He didn't get to see that. He didn't. But he's going on this blind faith in the stories of his elders that's saying that God is going to be with you, and that this man was speaking to him. Now, I like to have that reminder too sometimes, but I believe I lost my train of thought there. Anyways, but I believe God puts things in our lives not only to remind us, but to see if we're still on course with things. And I believe that us as Christians is falling off more course than anyone else in this world has. If that's the truth, because if we as Christians would have done our job the whole time, none of this would have been happening. We would have stood up for all these things that would came upon overcome this country. We would have went against all these leaders for years that went against all the things that we believe. But yet we sit here on the sidelines and we don't do nothing about it. We don't stand up for nothing no more. We're more like the laughingstock. I mean, what does it come to now? What will it take for y'all, for us, for me, to be able to stand up for what you actually believe? What would it take? I mean, what's it going to come down to? I mean, it's getting pretty close enough that they're trying to take God away from us in every way possible. But now,